Hi everyone, welcome back to Surviving the Love Bomb. I am super sorry for the unexpected hiatus. We had some technical difficulties. Basically, my old computer didn't like all the extra attention it was getting and gave up the ghost. So I had to wait for a new one to arrive to be able to edit anything. In all of that time, we've also had craziness here with my daughter and I being very, very unwell, and school holidays, and it's cold and wet and horrible, and it doesn't look like it's ever gonna end. But anyway, with all that being said, today we're going to talk about love bombing. And if you're new here, my name's Emma Carrington. I'm trained as a community services worker and I'm a victim survivor of domestic abuse. Basically, the aim of this channel is to share all that I've learnt through my abusive marriage and out the other side through all the courses and training that I've done, and hopefully educating enough people to reduce domestic abuse around the world. So, love bombing. Love bombing at its core is showering someone with over-the-top displays of affection and positive attention in order to manipulate and control them. The types of things to look out for with love bombing are expensive or over-the-top gifts for where you're at within your relationship. So if you've only been together for 2 weeks and the gifts are just, you know, when they're not quite in line with where you're at within the relationship. Things like long romantic conversations about how amazing your future is going to be together and how they're promising all the world. They're promising babies and married, little stone cottages, or whatever it is that your little heart desires. They're going to make this happen. Constant communication, so things like constant texting all over your social media, calling, being with you as much as possible. They are your sole focus. Yeah, wanting to be with you all the time, being upset when they're not able to be with you, carrying on and making you feel guilty about that. Excessive compliments. And now this one we have to be careful with because we all like a compliment. When it's over the top, you do know it, and it's something that you have to keep in check within yourself. You know that when it becomes uncomfortable, it's too much, and you have the right to say, hey, this is too much. You're making me uncomfortable. Professing to be soulmates, like twin souls, meant to be. This is it. Can't live without each other. Right from the get-go. Someone's professing this and they don't even know you, like they've known you all of 3 days or even a month. You can't know someone in that amount of time to that depth. That goes for early declarations of love as well. They're not going to know you within a month to be able to say whether or not they're in love. They really might like you a lot. That's very, very different than love. And love takes time. Love bombing is not going to give them that time. So they will tell you very early on that they love you. And that can be uncomfortable as well. Now, all of these things seem pretty harmless. Remember, the abuser, the love bomber, is doing these things to manipulate and control. So things will go along fine for a while and you will be their queen. And this is why we fall into this trap. Who doesn't like to be complimented and treated well and doted upon? It's lovely. So how do you know if you've been love bombed and manipulated, or if you've just found a great guy? The shift generally comes once you are a couple, once you're together and the world knows it. If it's not love bombing, the affection and attention will continue, and their actions and words will align. And if you divert your attention from them, say on a girls' night out, or if you set a boundary like, I'm studying on a Tuesday and I'd appreciate it if you didn't call or text me on Tuesdays, and they accept this, they actually follow through and don't push back against your boundaries, then it's probably not love bombing. However, if the attention changes from being attentive and loving to being angry and controlling, and they argue against any boundaries that you try to put in place, that's usually a sign that love bombing has shifted into devaluing. So the devaluing of their partner allows love bombers to maintain control and feel powerful, because no matter how confident they seem or how confident they come across, they lack self-esteem, they lack self-worth, and they get their validation from others. The thing is, because of their low self-esteem, they've chosen their victim very, very carefully. They've chosen someone who is a great catch, someone who, for whatever reason, doesn't recognize their own value. And this makes them an easy target, obviously, for the love bomber, because they're flooding them with compliments and attention. And this is something that is obviously lacking within the victim. Not to say that it's the victim's fault at all. We all have self-esteem issues at different points and for different reasons. And the love bomber uses all this attention and affection to build trust and as a means of control. Now, I said before that they saw you as a great catch, and this was probably their honest perception of you. And they may have even said something along the lines of, I can't believe that someone like you agreed to go out with me. I can't believe that you would want to be with me. Now, however, you are showing that you value them by being in this relationship. And this is not psychologically proven or anything. This is just my opinion. But I believe that now that you think that they're wonderful, you lose value in their eyes because they have low self-esteem. So if you think that someone as worthless as them is wonderful, then you must be less than them. I don't know, that's just the way I see it. So this makes them feel powerful because they're better than you and to the world, and because to them previously you were this wonderful catch. So this just builds them up. The devaluation is a tool to keep victims isolated and dependent. They tear the victim down so that they can maintain control and power. When the victim gives in to angry outbursts, or whether it's cancelling plans or avoiding family or just making themselves smaller to try and appease the abuser, this gives the abuser a feeling of more control and power and boosts them even further to continue this devaluation. However, once the victim's had enough of being controlled and put down, the abuser, the love bomber, feels threatened. So the punishment increases. And at this point, the victim, on the first round or two of this, may attempt to leave. And that's when the love bombing starts again. And this is where the cycle of abuse comes in. So we discussed earlier the red flags or signs of a love bomber. What can you do if you notice these red flags? If they show up in a relationship in the first few weeks or months, it might be time to do a bit of a gut check. Things are probably going at a really rapid pace, and you have every right to slow things down in a relationship. So take a beat. You can say something along the lines of, I really, really like you, but this is moving a little fast for me. I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. Can we just slow things down? And if they're receptive to that and they actually follow through and do allow you to set some boundaries, then that's great. You may have derailed this. Love bombers aren't always abusive. Men, particularly, I mean, we do it too, women do it too, are trying you on in their life, and they're trying to fit you into everything. So it might be that he's just overexcited and really pushing forward to see if you are going to work within his world. And you're allowed to say, let's slow it down and see if this is going to be something real. Because when things are going too fast, I love yous happen too fast, the physical intimacy happens too fast, And you end up in this situation where you haven't really gotten to know a person, but you're in this fully fledged relationship. And then it's really hard to backpedal. Another way is to just check that their words and actions align. So again, if they agree to slow things down, does that actually happen? Or are they still texting and calling you 150 times a day? If they do align, that's fine. If they don't, be honest with yourself, because these things that you're noticing are there to be able to protect you. Eventually, it's going to be harder and harder to get out of there if you've let it slide and let it slide and let it slide. Remember that a love bomber or an abuser doesn't like to be challenged. So if you see the red flags and get pushback or aggression on any boundaries that you're trying to set, you may have just outed your love bomber. Once you've noticed these things and are trying to leave the relationship, I suggest going no contact, complete no contact, shut them, like block them on everything, because they will attempt to draw you back in. They're not going, they've put work into you. They have put work into you, and they're not going to let you go without a fight. It's futile to try and remain friends or in contact. Invest in yourself instead. Reconnect with your friends and family. Take up yoga, or take up something that is just for you and that gives you joy, and hold your boundaries against this person, because they probably will continue to come around and try to draw you back into the situation that you're attempting to escape. Please remember, at the end of the day, that the love bomber is an abuser, and an abuser is not ever happy about you taking back your control. So the most dangerous time is right after you leave an abusive relationship. So with this in mind, and if you are afraid, please seek help with a safe exit plan. As always, if you need my help in finding contacts or resources in your local area, please contact me. My email is in the description box below, and you are more than welcome to join our Facebook group, which is Surviving the Love Bomb. Those details are down below also. I again apologise for the little break that we've had. I will attempt to try and get some more content put up this week, because I have so much backlog, and I feel like I'm really behind. So until next time, please stay safe and look out for one another.